What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here with Cheesehead TV, live for your Packers Daily Chat. And whew, there's some things to talk about, apparently. As you can see, a full chat awaits us. We got plenty of Twitter questions. Thanks for joining me on YouTube Live. Make sure you're subscribed to Cheesehead TV on YouTube so you're always with us whenever we got stuff to talk about, like we do today. The Packers moving Ty Montgomery to Baltimore for a 7th-round selection in 2020, and Clinton Dix traded to Washington for a 4th-round pick. Now, it would appear that Twitter and the live chat are a little perplexed and or upset by these movements. So allow me to tell you to RELAX. The Packers clearly have a plan in place at safety, and I know that would be the number one thing that Packer fans appear to be freaking out about. You've already seen, starting with that Rams game, corners doing things akin to the safety position. Tramon Williams, in particular, played a lot of slot against the Rams. You have to think Rashad Breeland would probably be figuring into their plans going forward, being able to move guys, whether that's Tramon, maybe Josh Jackson, maybe Kevin King, who knows, into a safety-like role. Maybe we see more Whitehead. Obviously, Kentrell Bryce is the strong safety. Let's let things play out before we completely freak out about the plan moving forward. And between you and me and whoever else is on the internet, I hear the Packers coaches were not sad to see Clinton Dix go. I don't think his performance was really up to snuff as far as down in and down out. Yes, he made some plays, and yes, I've defended his play. I don't think he was terrible by a long shot. But clearly, Brian Gutekunst wanted to move on a guy who most likely wasn't going to get paid, wasn't going to be back next year. They get a 4th-round pick for him, and they move on, starting with Sunday in New England. It'll be interesting to see what the plan is. I'll get to some of your questions here. I'll start with Gary, who's not upset at all, in all caps and exclamation point. How would you expect the Packers to get a safety and a pass rusher in this upcoming draft? Or would you expect the Packers? Yeah, absolutely. They'll be looking to upgrade a lot of positions. What's up, Nagler? Angel, what's up? Excited about the possibilities. Adam, I am as well. I'd like to take a moment to address Glomar, who has gone off on a little bit of a rant in the chat, which, hey man, it's your prerogative. You do what you got to do. I understand. It's very emotional, especially the idea that the Packers are punting in perpetuity, seemingly, always kind of kicking the can down the road, always drafting and developing. But I did want to address one thing you wrote, which was, why aren't they like other teams who try and grab the brass ring, so to speak, and go all in on one season? And hey, I get that the Rams are doing exactly that by everything they did this offseason and trading for Dante Fowler today, etc. But look, the Packers did that when they paid Aaron Rodgers. You know, and everyone wants to, they're wasting Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers' contract puts some constraints on them that aren't on those other teams that are going all in with rookie quarterbacks. Don't forget, there's a lot of ball game, a lot of season left to play out. And so many people in the chat and on my Twitter feed are saying, well, they're punting on the season. Clearly, Brian Gutekunst has taken over from a general manager where he is weeding out the stuff that he doesn't want on his squad and is preparing for his tenure as general manager of the Green Bay Packers. A lot of guys come off the books next year. Gutekunst has gathered a lot of assets for the future. They are still in contention to not only win the division, but win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback this year, regardless of how you feel about today's moves. So I would caution you to take a deep breath, let the season play out, and then you have all offseason to bitch and moan. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. Nags, they didn't cut him, but traded him. Did you see 88 leaving after yesterday's locker interview? Fernando, I was of the opinion, I said it, I did a couple of radio hits today, and I said in all of those that I had a hard time imagining him still being on the team at the end of this week. I am firmly of the belief that if they hadn't been able to get any kind of trade compensation for him, they were going to release him. And that makes Gutekunst getting anything for the guy, even if it is a 7th rounder 2 years from now, pretty much a wizard. Because I think that most of the league was under the impression that he was going to get cut. So the idea that they got an asset for him at all, that's a win for the Packers. Because I can't believe that they were going to trot him out there after everything that happened over the last 48 hours. I won't rehash the event or Montgomery's reaction to it or McCarthy's statements on it, but needless to say, I can't imagine that they were going to let him back in the locker room, given the trust factor and everything that kind of transpired from the Rams game on. More Aaron Jones now that they're down to 2 running backs. Seth, that would be the guess. We'll see what kind of roster moves they make. I would tend to think we might see something tonight/tomorrow for those open roster spots. We'll see what Gutekunst has up his sleeve. Raji moved to safety, and I like it. I'm not surprised either has gone. I just thought they would have got more, especially for Haha. Well, teams know that he's at the end. It's just a rental, basically. You're not going to pay premium for a guy you're getting basically for 9 games before you have to decide whether to pay him or not. I think a 4th-round pick makes a lot of sense. Does this mean Josh Jones will get more snaps? Why hasn't he played much already? Well, Tanner, he hasn't played much because they've trusted the other guys a lot more, namely Whitehead, who, he has his issues in coverage at times, but down in and down out, he's played pretty darn well for the Packers. Now, with this opening, you have to think, I would think you'd get Josh Jones on the field more. But I tell you what, if you don't see Josh Jones this Sunday, that tells you everything you need to know about what they feel about that player and that pick. Letting Hyde, Hayward, and now Dix, Packers are allergic to good defensive players. We can only see on the Dix thing. I mean, of course, Hyde and Hayward, they've gone on to do good things, but the Hyde thing, I never understood. Hayward, I totally understood. Clinton Dix being traded, I understand. I don't think they're allergic to it. Gutekunst is just building for his tenure. How is the wide receiver on IR doing health-wise? Scott, you could mean Kumaro or Trevor Davis. I think they're both doing pretty well, but we'll have to see if bringing Trevor Davis up is part of the plan here now that Montgomery's out of town. He could be the kick returner, obviously. Man, these last few drafts have been very poor. Julian, you are not kidding. What kind of takes the sting out of it a little bit is that Gutekunst appears to have had a very strong initial draft. But yes, the 2015 to 2017 span, it looks worse and worse with each passing day. As of today, with the trade of Montgomery, 2015 is completely out the door. Other than maybe Ryan, who is on IR. How are they going to address our need for an edge rusher immediately? Oh, they're not. They're going to go with what they've got. And I would caution everyone who say, well, they had to go get an edge rusher. They got to the quarterback with some regularity on Sunday against one of the best offensive lines in the league, against one of the best offenses in the league. So maybe let's see what they're cooking with here for a couple games before we say they blew it on not getting an edge rusher. Whatever happened to Cole Madison? Nate, nothing ever happened with Cole Madison. Let's go over to the Twitter wall, shall we? Let's answer some questions from Twitter, see what's on the old Twitter sphere for people who couldn't be here live. First one up from Matt. He asks, if Gronk plays, who is the best Packers defender who can match up against him? Martinez, Clay, somebody else? Funnily enough, Matt, you know who matched up with him the most last time they played in 2014? A rookie safety named Clinton Dix. Obviously, that won't be part of the plan this week. As far as who matches up with him best one-on-one, I don't think they really have a go-to option. Maybe they use Josh Jackson in that role, not so much as a safety, but just as a man corner / shadow, so to speak. He's got the size you like. He's got the ball skills. Obviously, Gronkowski is a handful, and I don't think any one guy can check him. But that is certainly the number one matchup that they have to look out for. No doubt about it. Jason asks, where or who does Jair line up against this week? That's a very good question. I don't think this is a week where you're going to see something like we saw against LA where he basically had Cooks wherever he went. I think this will be much more side to side with left, right, and taking whoever ends up there. Maybe if someone starts killing them, AKA gets the hot hand, so to speak, maybe they move Jair there. But I don't suspect that this is a thing that they do every week. I think it'll be matchup dependent. And I don't see a wide receiver in particular. And I know the obvious answer would be Josh Gordon, but I still think they're going to move guys around there. I don't think they're going to match up Jair one-on-one with Gordon simply because there's a big, big height advantage there for Gordon. But we'll see. Maybe they, the alpha performance, as Mike McCarthy called it, maybe that is something they look to do. We'll have to wait and see. Wow, is Goody punting on this season? I don't think so. I think he is positioning himself for his tenure, though. as general manager of the Packers. There's no doubt about that. Nagler, what's your take on these trades? What's next for the Packers defense? Seems like Gutekunst is about to clean house. Well, he's made some moves. There's no doubt about it. He's clearly gotten people out of the building who didn't want to be there. As far as the defense goes, they had a really solid showing in L.A. I'm very interested to see what their plan is against Brady and company. But look, if they play anywhere near the level that they played on Sunday in L.A., they're going to be tough to beat. And yes, Tom and Bill are obviously the best of the best, and in that building in prime time, they are basically unstoppable, unbeatable. But I like the Packers' chances if they play the level they played on Sunday. When is the last time you've seen this much drama on the Packers? It's been a while, right? I kind of like it. Spices things up, makes it a little less boring. I don't think there's that much drama, though. I mean, the Ty Montgomery situation was certainly dramatic for 24 hours or so. But the Packers themselves inside the building, they keep things pretty even-keeled. I know it kind of feels like a whirling dervish outside to us here, looking in, but I don't think there's that much kind of tumult, so to speak, inside the building. A 3rd and a 5th for Fowler doesn't seem too much to give. Is he that much of a character risk? Joseph, I guess it depends on who you ask, and certainly for the Packers, it would seem that was a bit much. The report was that they were in on Fowler, as were the Jets. The Rams eventually got him for a 3rd next year and a 5th the year after that. Gutekunst didn't want to give up those assets. Part of that probably is thinking, okay, we're coming along, rushing the passer, so to speak, after that performance on Sunday. But most likely the driving force is not wanting to give up those assets for a guy who does have character issues in his past, especially for a guy like Gutekunst, who basically shipped out Demarius Randall for not getting along with guys in the locker room, and now moving Ty Montgomery after his comments about his teammates. Bringing in a guy like Fowler, I said it all week on Packers Daily and on Transplants last week. I had a hard time seeing Gutekunst making that kind of move for a guy. The same thing with Bruce Irvin. I was asked about him a lot this week, and I just never saw Gutekunst making that kind of move for a personality that would maybe rub some guys the wrong way. Now, I think if he could have got a bargain, if he could have called up the Jaguars and said, I'll give you a 5th or a 6th, and they would gone after that, then sure, fine. The word this morning was that they were asking for 2/3. I mean, that was never going to happen, at least for the Packers. But even a 3rd and a 5th, probably too much for Gutekunst. Lauren, thanks for doing these. You're welcome. Do you think a 4th was not enough for HaHa Clint Dix? I was thinking more like a 3rd for 21. Raven Green time? Well, I think Raven Green is an intriguing prospect, but I don't think he's ready for prime time, so to speak. I think they'll move some guys around that have already been playing. Who knows what they've been practicing behind closed doors, so to speak, whether that's, we already saw Tremont doing some safety stuff inside in the box last week. Maybe we see an extension of that against the Patriots. But we'll have to see what they're cooking up. But as far as the compensation, as I said before, it's hard to believe that someone was going to give up more than that for a guy that they're essentially going to have to rent for 9 games or 8 games before deciding whether to pay him or not. So, yeah, I think that's about in line with where his value is. How can the Packers be sure Montgomery will decide to go to Washington just because they've told him to? Brendo, I included this just because it was my favorite tweet on the subject all day. Bravo. That's outstanding. All right, everybody, let's get back to the live chat because, there's a bunch of people here probably, yelling at me because I'm not paying attention to them. Terrence says, Ted Thompson, part 2. Woo! If that means they're going to win a Super Bowl, I guess that's good, right? I hate these trades. Nicholas, work it out, man. Let it be. Mike Golick Jr. said, I'm Mike and Mike. Who? So? What? Which Packers were critical of 88? Which players were critical of 88? I don't know, Matt. Breeland time. Very possible. Tremont to safety, played there for Pettin in Cleveland, maybe Breeland. I think both of those are possibilities. The Tremont thing, like I said, we saw a little bit of it against the Rams on Sunday. We'll see if they're continuing down that road on Sunday night. You need to bring back the video of Mike McCarthy saying that's what it's like. Well remembered. I'll do that as soon as I get off this chat. Why not get Shane Ray? Why get Shane Ray when you've got Kyler Fackrell? Jackson or Williams to safety. I think we're going to get a bunch of these questions. We're starting to repeat ourselves. Do we have any chance against the Pats? Are you insane? Yes, of course they have a chance against the Pats. Not only do they have a chance against the Pats, they're going to beat the Pats. Write it down. Who is returning kicks now? We'll find out probably tomorrow when they make a roster move to bring somebody on, whether it's Trevor Davis or someone else. Either that or they'll just throw a running back there and say good luck. Watch the hate dissolve around April. Good point. Wow, you guys are on fire today. Funny how getting rid of a third-string running back and Clinton Dix, who Packer Nation complained about constantly, means we are giving up on the season. Just stop, people. Well said, Matt. Let's see. You cannot contain the fat girl, Brett. You got that right. Then next year, guys like Matthews, Cobb, etc., come off the cap, and we invest heavily in the pass rush. It's quite possible. Those guys do all come off the books. And they will have a ton of cap room to work with. Will Katie Nolan be on transplants this week? Jeremy, she will not be. We did invite her, but just wasn't going to work out. Still love Katie, though. When is Kumaro available next? He's available now if they want to bring him off IR. But it's all about numbers and whether he's healthy or not, which we can't really say for sure. What do I think about Josh Jones? JoJo, I think if he doesn't play on defense this week, that tells you all you need to know. Moose Man. Anybody named Moose Man? I got to read their question. Am I crazy for thinking HaHa was a bit overrated? PFF had him as their top 3 safety in the league, but I didn't see it. Moose Man, I can only repeat what I said earlier in the chat, which is that I have heard pretty reliably that Packers coaches on the defensive side of the ball not too upset about watching him go. I don't think they were thrilled with his performance this season. I think he wasn't nearly as bad as most Packers fans made him out to be, but I understand wanting to move on from an asset who you were not going to pay, and you wanted to get something for him before he left. Let's see. What else we got? Doesn't Ty have a fundraiser at Lambeau Thursday? He does, Nicole. Could be awkward. What happened with Josh Jackson this weekend? He didn't play, Nick. Not a single snap on defense. All special teams. Put Aaron Rodgers in at safety, right next to B.J. Raji. I think we just found our duo. I'm glad we kept Cobb. I feel they need to keep his past this season. You mean past this season or past this season? Confused on that. We need to sign T.J. Ward. Maybe they do. I tell you what, if they're going to make a move, they'll make it today / tonight prior to practice tomorrow. Stay tuned. Tom Brady was the biggest winner today. He's going to tear up that secondary. I'll bet $1 million that this commenter, who I can't even read that name, was also saying, the Rams are going to completely destroy the Packers. They're going to blow them out. The Venn diagram of people who are saying the Rams are going to blow out the Packers and who say they have no chance and no plan at safety is a circle. Quentin Rollins, safety. Mike, Quentin Rollins is no longer on the team. Hasn't been for quite some time. Megan, who covers Gronk this weekend? I answered that a little bit earlier in the chat. You can go back and watch when we're done. The short answer is a whole lot of different people. How do we match up with the Pats? I deal really well. I think the Packers match up really well with the Patriots. I was asked last week prior to the Rams game, between the Rams and the Patriots, who did I think they had a better chance against? And 100% I think it's the Patriots. I'm not saying they're going to go in there and kill them or anything, but I do like their chances. Is Nick Collins still available? Sadly, no. If we lose to the Pats, do we move on from McCarthy soon after that? No. I'm so happy to see the game the Packers put together against the Rams. We came up short on the victory, but everyone on the team played hard. Timmy, you are absolutely correct. Nagler at safety, nobody wants to see that. Tremont and Jackson at safety, King, Alexander, and Breland at corner. It's a possibility, though I don't think they take Bryce off the field. Why didn't we acquire a player in trade? Because they didn't want to. Hopefully this means more Aaron Jones carries. Michael, from your typing to McCarthy's ears. Josh Jones had a great game on special teams on Sunday. He did. It was probably his finest performance of the season. I know that's not saying a whole lot, but he was excellent on coverage, avoided penalties, baby steps. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to yours. There were a ton of them today. Thank you so much to everybody on Twitter. If you're on YouTube right now live, I hope you've already subscribed. If you haven't, I'm going to hunt you down because I know where you are. IPs are a crazy thing. Anyway, and if you're on Facebook, like us, share us, tell your friends about us. Look, there are like, probably millions of Packer fans in the world. Wouldn't you say? At least hundreds of thousands. A million? Let's say around a million, right? And there's probably like a couple thousand, maybe 10,000 who know about Cheesehead TV. Maybe a little more, maybe 50,000. Let's be generous to ourselves. Spread the word, let people know. Subscribe, share, tell your friends, spread the love. Go on iTunes, listen to the podcast. We got tons of content at cheeseheadtv.com. We're here for you, Packers fans worldwide. That's why we do this. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good night.